This right here might just be the holy grail of gaming monitors. We have had a lot of highly anticipated releases this year as monitor technology continues to hit new heights, but this one could well be the best of them all when it comes to the perfect specs for gaming. 32 inches, 4K, OLED, 240Hz and more are pretty eye-watering specs. So today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the new ASUS ROG Swift PG32UCDM and seeing if it really lives up to the hype. Let's get into it. So this is ASUS ROG's latest OLED gaming monitor, the PG32UCDM, and it is packing some absolutely fantastic specs. But before we get into looking at the monitor itself, let's get this unboxed and take a look at everything you get inside. We of course have the stand for the monitor, which comes in two parts. There is the base, which is made from a nice brushed metal, and then the stand, which is made from plastic. You also get this plastic cover, which I will explain in a little more detail a bit later. A 100 by 100mm VESA adapter in case you want to mount this monitor to a desk arm instead of the stand. The manuals, information, and a bunch of ROG stickers. The power brick and adapter. These little plastic discs, which again I will explain shortly. And then you also get this nice bag which actually contains all of the cables this monitor comes with, including DisplayPort, high-speed HDMI, USB-C, USB-A to USB-B, and finally the plug. The stand is easy to assemble, with the top section slotting into the metal base and simply tightening with a screw. Then this plastic cover magnetically attaches to the bottom. And finally, the monitor simply clips onto the stand without any need for screws or tools. We have plenty of movement options as the stand allows for the height to be adjusted by moving the monitor up and down. And you can also adjust the tilt and pan from side to side. If you don't want to use the included stand, you can also simply take the VESA adapter and clip that into the back of the monitor instead, and then attach this to the desk arm or wall mount in your setup. Looking at the design of this monitor, and it gives off the exact kind of gaming vibes that you come to expect from ROG monitors. The stand is very angular and futuristic looking, with red RGB accents around the base and a downward facing LED. And this is where that plastic cover comes in, as this contains a little plastic disc with an ROG logo which can then be projected onto your desk and looks very cool. We also have another red ROG logo on the front of the monitor as well, and both of these can be turned off in the settings if you'd like. The monitor itself is extremely thin apart from this housing on the back, which is where all of the components are housed, as well as a custom heatsink to improve cooling, reducing the risk of burn-in and allowing the monitor to have a higher peak brightness. On here we have one of my favorite parts about the design of this monitor, this incredibly cool looking LED ROG logo which is fully RGB and changes color. And even though I'm not going to be able to see that when the monitor is against the wall, it's still a very cool addition. It does give off a slight RGB backlight in very low light situations, but of course not to the same effect as if you were using something like an RGB strip. On the front we have the 32-inch glossy panel which you would come to expect from an OLED monitor, with extremely thin bezels around the edge which looks very nice. Overall, it's a clean and well-designed monitor. In terms of connectivity then, we have a bunch of ports located on the back of the monitor, including two HDMI 2.1 ports, a DisplayPort 1.4 and power on the left hand side. Then on the right we have a USB-C with a 90 watt power output, three USB 3.2 ports, a 3.5mm headphone jack and an optical out port. These can be used to connect headphones or external speakers to the monitor, as it doesn't have any kind of speakers actually built in internally. Then at the bottom below the ports we have the controls for the monitor with two buttons either side of a control joystick, and these can be used to control the menu, which we'll get onto a bit later. But now let's talk about the specs of this monitor and why it's got me so excited. This is a 32-inch monitor which packs a 4K UHD resolution, QD OLED panel, 240Hz refresh rate and 0.03 millisecond response time. So this is basically the holy grail of specs for both gaming and watching media. I'm normally used to using a 32-inch 1440p 165Hz IPS monitor in this setup, so the step up to using this monitor was monumental. The picture quality is absolutely stunning, with incredibly vibrant colors that pop in every scene thanks to the quantum dot OLED technology paired with 99% DCI P3 color gamut coverage. And because this monitor is also VESA Display HDR True Black 400 certified, contrast is just about as top notch as you can imagine, with dark blacks allowing those colors to stand out even more. It also supports HDR10 and will have Dolby Vision support added in a firmware update very soon as well. Trust me, the video really doesn't do justice to how good the image quality really looks on this screen. Whether you're watching your favorite movie or TV show, thrown on a YouTube video from your favorite creator, or kicked back with some PC or console gaming, everything looks absolutely pristine on this 32-inch 4K OLED panel. I've used older OLEDs in the past, but this monitor has definitely shown that the technology just continues to improve with each generation. The 4K resolution allows images to look very sharp, and the combination of other features makes this one of the best experiences I've had enjoying media or gaming on a monitor. The increased sharpness is especially noticeable when viewing text on a PC. Most OLED monitors struggled with text due to being lower in resolution and having a lower pixel density. However, with this being a 32-inch 4K OLED, text clarity on here is massively improved, and performance is actually up there with regular LCD monitors, which is rare in an OLED, so a very impressive step up. The viewing angles on here are super wide, and even from extremely tight angles, the image is still perfectly viewable. One thing I'll note is that using this monitor in a bright environment does slightly affect things, as the black levels do look a little brighter, but this is not a big deal for me, and it's actually not that noticeable and still looks stunning in both higher and low light environments. Now, gaming on here is definitely an experience to behold. You can use this monitor with both PC and console, and as I have both in this setup, I kicked back with some games on both of them and I was incredibly impressed. On console, you're able to take full advantage of 4K 120Hz gaming, and of course, because this is a QD OLED panel, as mentioned before, the picture quality is just incredible. The vibrant colors and contrast levels look amazing across a variety of games, so if you're someone that likes to kick back with visually stunning story-driven titles, you're going to absolutely love the way they look on this monitor. I could have sat here all day and played through every game in my catalog, loving every second of it. If you're someone who enjoys more FPS-based games, then the 0.03 response time will be very handy for you as well. It's not enough to make me better at games like Call of Duty, but I don't mind as much when I'm able to enjoy such a great gaming experience either way. For PC gamers, you can also take full advantage of the fact that this monitor is also 240Hz. So if you have a high-end PC, the 4K 240Hz combo is going to be a dream for you. And of course, if you can't quite hit those higher frame rates, you can always switch the resolution down to 1440p or 1080p if you want to as well. The monitor also supports NVIDIA G-Sync and AMD FreeSync Premium Pro for a smooth experience, eliminating any screen tearing. If you want to boost your gaming experience even further, ASUS have included a range of built-in in-game enhancements. Dynamic Shadow Boost uses ROG Gaming AI technology to enhance darker areas of the screen to make it easier to spot enemies, whilst their Game Plus features allow you to add things like FPS counters, timers, display alignment, and even a dynamic crosshair. Game Visual allows you to switch between different preset display modes for different types of content, and the combination of flicker-free and low blue light technology allows you to enjoy using the monitor without putting as much strain on your eyes. All of these features can be controlled with the menu system along with a bunch of other settings. You can access the menu by pressing the middle joystick on the back of the monitor, and in here you can adjust things like VRR, the in-game features that I just mentioned, adjustments to the image, HDR mode, colors, choose the input if you're using multiple devices like console and PC. You can even customize and sync the RGB lighting on the monitor and a bunch more stuff as well. And all of this can be easily navigated using the control joystick and buttons on the back of the monitor. Or alternatively, if you're on PC, you can also do this by downloading the ASUS Display Widget Center software as well. Now, there are still a lot of people out there who are worried about the effects of OLED burn-in. If you don't know what this is, it's basically where static images are on screen for such long periods of time that they end up permanently burnt into the screen. However, with newer generation OLED monitors like this one, the likelihood of this happening is almost non-existent. ASUS OLED Care software comes with a bunch of features to protect against burn-in, such as pixel cleaning to recalibrate the screen when it's been active for a long time, a screensaver which automatically dims the screen after 2 minutes of inactivity, screen move, which periodically shifts pixel locations, and logo brightness adjustment, which detects static logos and reduces their brightness automatically. Plus, if you do end up running into any issues, the monitor also comes with a 3-year warranty as well. Another thing that people tend to worry about with QD OLED monitors is the glossy panel causing reflections on the screen. ASUS have opted for the glossy finish rather than an anti-glare matte coating, and this option can cause more screen reflection. Whilst this panel does come with anti-reflective treatment, which helps with some of this, direct light sources such as windows or indoor lights will still cause some reflections, so it's important to factor monitor and light placement in as well. So my overall thoughts on this monitor are, well, it's pretty simple. This is one of the best monitors I have ever used. In my eyes, these are the absolute perfect combination of specs in a monitor, with the 4K resolution on a QD OLED panel allowing for some of the crispiest and sharpest images I've seen in a gaming monitor. Pair that with incredible vibrant colors and stunning contrast levels, which are almost perfect thanks to the HDR performance and True Black 400 compliance. The 240Hz refresh rate means that gaming on here is incredibly fluid and an absolute joy to experience, with no worries about motion blur, screen tearing or ghosting. And for me at least, this is the optimum size monitor for my setup as well, so a clean sweep of spot on specs. I genuinely love the experience of gaming on this monitor, or even kicking back and watching movies or TV, and this would absolutely be my pick as a permanent monitor in this setup. Oh, and if you're wondering about the price, of course, this monitor retails for around £1,300 or $1,300, which fits in with the kind of price range you would expect from OLED monitors these days. If you have any questions on the monitor, then feel free to drop those in the comments, and if you enjoyed today's video, let me know with a thumbs up and tell me what you thought in the comments too. Don't forget to sub for more content like this, and check out my other socials for daily tech posts and updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you later.